Dajiao. Hello, it's Peter here. So I'm local entrepreneur here in the finest Bay Area in Finland, to be more specific. And really great to be here today to share some ideas, some thoughts with all of you at the conference. Of course, it would be even better to be there in person, but maybe next time we can make that happen. Yeah, a little bit about myself. I started my career working at what you could call the original technology startup, so the company that Bill and Dave started in their garage in Palo Alto in California, all the way back in 1939. Okay, 1939 was before my time, so I wasn't there. But I had the opportunity to meet with both Bill and Dave while they were still alive, and they were fantastic entrepreneurs. So not only did they start HP, Hewlett Packard, in that famous garage, but they actually started the whole Silicon Valley. So that famous garage in Palo Alto is considered the birthplace of Silicon Valley. And if you have your way over to that part of the world, I really recommend that you go and check it out. It's not a very impressive garage, but of course what came out of there is pretty impressive. And I think that it's safe to say that for all of us in the technology industry, Silicon Valley has traditionally been a great source of inspiration. And as I said, Bill Hewlett, Dave Packard, fantastic entrepreneurs. They really pretty much started all of that. And it's always good to keep in mind that it was all the way back in 1939, so it wasn't yesterday. And I think that with many of these great success stories, it's always important to keep in mind that building great things takes a while. And always good to keep in mind that Silicon Valley wasn't started by Google, Apple, Facebook, Twitter, Uber, one of these newcomers, but it was really started by Bill and Dave back in 1939 in that famous garage. But anyway, reason I wanted to bring this up is that Silicon Valley is a great example of the kind of talent concentrations that we have and these kind of hotspots that we have around the world. So Silicon Valley is not obviously the only place and doesn't have a monopoly on innovation. Innovation is happening all over the planet, but that is one of the leading concentrations of talent, kind of like anywhere on the planet. That said, I had the opportunity to be in Beijing before the pandemic, and I was listening to a talk by a professor from Tsinghua, and he was very happy and proud about the fact that in China there's been more than 200 unicorn companies created, so companies worth more than $1 billion. And I mean, that is a huge number and a huge success. And again, an example that innovation is happening everywhere. Also then, if you look at our part of the world, so I'm now here in the finest Bay Area. We have Finland, Estonia, Sweden. We have also a very good track record when it comes to creating success and successful companies. I think probably the best example, our friends in Estonia, 1.3 million people, but they have created 7 unicorn companies. And I think that's like a fantastic number. So they started with Playtech, then Skype, TransferWise, or just Wise now, then Bolt, and we have Pipedrive and a few others. So a long list of successful companies for kind of like a very small nation. Also here in Finland, we have Rovio with Angry Birds, Nokia, of course, many people know, and Supercell, Small Giant Games, a lot of success in games. Our friends in Sweden created things like Spotify, Klarna, many success stories. So if you actually look at the number of unicorn companies per capita, I think our friends in Estonia, take the first prize there. 7 unicorn companies, 1.3 million people. Going back to China, 200 unicorn companies, but also a population of 1.4 billion. So it means that you need 7 million people to create a unicorn company, while our friends in Estonia need less than 300,000. So the efficiency is amazing there. And I think that this is also a very good way of looking at kind of like the success so far. It means that we can do much better if you look around the world. But also if you look at then some common denominators in these kind of like successful hotspots, these successful parts of the world, I think that it really is all about the talent. It's all about the people. But then what attracts the people there? I think one key thing is education. And here in Finland, we're known for having what is probably the best educational system anywhere in the world, but also a high number of very, very good universities. And then if you go back to Silicon Valley, I mean, a lot of success stories there, they've originated from companies started by people who went to Stanford, to Berkeley, to one of the great universities there. And we see the same in China with, Tsinghua, I already mentioned, a lot of startups originated from people that went to one of the great universities in China. So I think education, and not just universities, but if you look at all the way through from like kindergarten to university and beyond, I think education really is a very, very important foundation. And that also gives us some clue of where to find the next, success story. And if you look at, AI as one example, and AI in particular, I think it's no different. A lot of the success is built on research done at the universities. We have also been very successful over here in Finland in that particular area with AI. I mean, already back in the 1970s, we invented the self-propagating neural networks. A bit later, we invented the self-organizing neural networks. So we have a few generations of researchers that have been working on AI and working on AI before it became popular. And I think that is a fantastic asset to have and to build on. But I think this is true now if you look at all of these hotspots that I mentioned, be it, the San Francisco Bay Area in the US, home of Silicon Valley, or, the Greater Bay Area, the Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Hong Kong, Macau area there in China, or the finest Bay Area here, Finland, Estonia. So it's Finn out of Finland, Est out of Estonia. So I always say that it's not just us saying that it's the finest Bay Area, it's actually based on fact. But that's kind of like another discussion, maybe. But anyway, if you look at then back to kind of like a little bit about the AI and all of that, I think that it really starts with fantastic education and all the research and all the work done at these fine educational institutions. And again, one reason why we see the highest number of unicorns per capita over here in the finest Bay Area, I think that it's also correlates quite nicely with the fact that we have the highest number of universities per capita. So the density of universities is very important. And with that density of universities, you also get very high talent density. And that is one thing that we are working on kind of like around the clock to increase the talent density and attract the talent that will create the next big thing, the next Nokia, the next Angry Birds, or, being there, China, the next Alibaba, the next Tencent. I think everybody is always looking for kind of like creating that next world-changing innovation, world-changing organization, world-changing company. So if you look at what all of these successful areas have in common, I think really it is about, the universities attracting the talent, and then you end up with fantastic talent density, and then you have a good chance of creating kind of like the next big thing. So I think that is something that is very, very important. And that is one thing that we see in all of these hotspots of innovation. So it's really important. But also another thing that is very important, so we have education, but entrepreneurship is super important. And this is again, pretty obvious that if you have fantastic education, it doesn't really matter if you don't do anything with that. So we need entrepreneurship. And for me, entrepreneurs are people who do. They do things, they make things happen. So it's very, very important that we mix this educational excellence with entrepreneurial mindset and attitude. So again, really an area where I think that we can never do like enough work. And it's very important that we encourage our young people to be entrepreneurial and think along those lines. And I think there it's very important to create an environment where people are not afraid of doing things, new things, and they are not afraid of failing, because we all know that when we're trying new things, be it in AI or AR or any new technology, any new field, more often than not, we fail. We don't instantly know how to do things. A little bit like how we all learn how to walk. We get up, we fall, we get up, we fall, and then eventually we learn how to walk and how to run. So it's very important that we create an environment that is safe for entrepreneurs, meaning that we create an environment where people are not afraid of trying new things and are not afraid of then going out there and creating new things, knowing that many times, like with startups and all of that most startups fail. We don't hear about them too much. We hear about the success stories, but of course, in reality, we're not all, creating startups with 100% like hit rate. So it's all about learning by doing and creating an environment where that can happen. So I think this is something that is very, very important. And then I think that it's also important when we talk about attracting talent and, we want to have the best possible people, the best possible talent working on our next innovation in AI or any other like area. I think that it's very important we create an environment that is not only safe, but also that it's fun. And I think that it's important that we have entertainment. And I always talk about kind of like this triple E model for creating success, creating, transformative new things, disruptive new things, that we need education, we need entrepreneurship, but we also need entertainment. And the entertainment part, I think we can learn a lot from the entertainment industry, from the games industry in particular, on how to attract users and fans at massive scale. And I think that this is again one thing that you should always keep in mind, that the entertainment industry is very aware of what we all should be aware of, that we're always competing for people's time and attention. And this is why, again, many of us could live, in Beijing, or we could live here in Helsinki, or, we could go to San Francisco, or, we could go to Shenzhen, or any of the very, very fine cities around the world. But we need to really focus on creating environments where innovation can happen and where the talent can prosper. So I think this is something that, again, no matter what technology, what innovation we're focused on, we should keep in mind all of these like 3 E's: the education, the entrepreneurship, and the entertainment. So this kind of like triple E model for creating kind of like the next big thing. So again, really thank you for having me here at the conference today, and really look forward to seeing all of you. So maybe there in China, or also, of course, you are very, very welcome to visit us here in the finest Bay Area, here in Helsinki, in Tallinn. We're only a short flight away. So for us here to get to Beijing, I get on a flight, and 7 hours later I'm in Beijing, 8 hours later in Shanghai, or 6 hours later I'm in Delhi. So we are the closest neighbor of China, closest neighbor of most of Asia here in Europe. So it's very, very easy to come here and see for yourself. And I think that it's very important that when we look at creating these fantastic new companies, fantastic new world-changing innovations, that we work together. So I think this is also one thing that I really encourage all of us to think about, and how can we do more collaboration, how can we work on all of these fantastic new solutions together. So I think that is something that I would like to leave you with today. But anyway, thank you very much, xie xie, and 再见. See you soon.